Michelle with Treecat here. I wanted to jump on and just give a quick tutorial. We've got a little bit of a new feature. It's a little bit more of an advanced feature for some of the more advanced users, and it's regarding how quantities are handled. So if you have multiple quantity listings, then this one might be for you. So as you know, I am a multiple quantity seller. I get replenishable items from time to time. And so we've made some changes to handle that for sellers like me who get replenishable items. Now, if you're a seller who just sells a bunch of one-off items, this might not be for you. But if you're a seller that does get replenishables like I do and wants to have things done a little bit differently, we've got a new way that Treecat will handle the quantities now. So let me just jump right into it and show you what we're doing. I did do a blog about this. If you have ever checked out my blog, blog.treecat.io, you'll see the blog here, and it talks about how we are doing 2 ways of quantity handling. So as you know, we started out with Treecat with the option 1, which is to store single quantity listings. And that means that it stores, the inventory is basically once it sells. If you had multiple quantity listings, then basically it would store it. The Treecat was the single source of truth, and it would store the quantity of that item. Let's say you had 5 items, and then if it sold, it would just basically relist it as a quantity of 1. And so, but Treecat knew what the quantity was. But the reason we did that is because we wanted to get, I don't know, I had the theory that I just had to keep listing and listing and listing to, to get views and to get at the top of search. Well, things change, algorithms change. And sometimes you'd rather really not lose your ratings. You'd rather not lose your history, right? And so we made a new change for storing multiple quantity listings. So that's going to be different now. So now, if you have multiple quantity listings, it will show up on eBay as however many. Let's say you had 5. It'll show up as 5. It'll keep, once it sells, it'll just keep selling down until it gets to 0. It'll keep the existing likes and watchers. It'll preserve the listing momentum, the sales history, and it'll just compound, visibility over time. And a lot of multi-quantity sellers really like that because it'll get, indexed onto Google and things like that. And so the thing that I wanted to just make a note of is that we have said, we require that you change your settings now in Treecat to tell Treecat how you'd like your multi-quantity listings handled. So what you would do is you would go onto Treecat, go into your settings. So in your settings, under profile, so this is settings profile. So at the very bottom here, you can see that you have some options. There's 2 options: store only a single quantity. So that means that you're going to, every time something sells, it'll just relist it as quantity of 1, and then it'll sell down to 0, and Treecat will then delist it off of all your platforms, right? But now we have store multiple quantities, and you would toggle between the 2. Okay, either store multiple quantities or store single quantities. Okay, and once you've selected that, you do not need to save the changes. It saves the changes for you. So once that is selected, then you just have to make sure that on eBay, you have to, well, if you haven't already, there's a setting in eBay, and that is in your, let's see, selling preferences. So I just go to my eBay, and then I click on selling preferences right there. And I tell it under multi-quantity listings, I toggle to listings stay active when they're out of stock. Okay. So that means that when it sells, when an item sells down to 0, this is a really good example of what you'll see when something sells. So let me scroll down to an item that just sold, and it was the last of that item's quantity. So as you can see here on Treecat, it has a quantity of 0. And so it's still showing as being listed on eBay. However, when I visit the product page in eBay, it's showing me that the item is out of stock and it has a quantity of 0. But so if I should ever get replenish this item, I would then just go into my Treecat and I would change the quantity right here to however many the quantity is, and and then I could basically you change the quantity to 1, and then you save the changes. And as soon as you save the changes, it's actually going to relist that. Yeah, so that's how that works. If you are a multi-quantity seller, this is right up your alley. You now have the option to handle quantity like a boss. Handle your multiple quantity items like a boss. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out. You can contact us at support@treecat.io. And I hope that you enjoy this new feature. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.